everyone. This is Robin from the Good Place Bench. Thanks to Utopian Hours, we're granted the position here in the beautiful Handels Gebouw in Rotterdam to invite people, participants, speakers, attendees to take a seat next to me on the Good Place Bench. And today I have
Hogg from Lateral North from Scotland.
Scotland, very important to mention. Where in Scotland?
From Glasgow.
Beautiful. Yeah. So we have a beautiful mix of people from different cities around the world, I'd say, to share more about ideas, solutions that really feed in this theme, which is, of course, International Festival of City Making. But it's there to define what city making is, but also to give the audience inspiration on, what can I do to make my city a good place? Hence we're here. Just tell us a bit more about yourself and about, the work you do or what has brought you to Rotterdam.
Mm-hmm. So I'm one of the directors of Lateral North. We're a design company based in Glasgow. We started straight out of university 13 years ago. So our final year project was what initiated us, and I can talk a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. But since then, we have grown to be 7 people, and we've got a variety of different. So I have an architecture background, as does my business partner, but we have a graphic designer, immersive technologists, so working with virtual and augmented reality. We've got interior designers and then photographer and filmmaker as well. So it's quite a diverse range of work that we do, but so we call ourselves creative storytellers.
Right.
So every project is different, and we do a lot of collaborative work. So we work alongside architects, urban designers, work alongside museum specialists and interpretation specialists, but also a whole host of different people.
But the main goal is within the realm of city and city initiatives?
Yeah, I would say it's like kind of split between two. So like the reason I'm here, me and my business partner, we kind of split ourselves in 2 different ways. So I'm focused more on the strategy. I'm the strategy director, and he focuses more on the sort of design elements. So it means that we kind of provide like a turnkey service. Mm-hmm. So we do work right from the start of a project, like the concept of it, all the way through to like being on site and like delivering it like physically alongside people. So sometimes that manifests itself very differently. But a lot of the big idea is at the start, and like how we develop that alongside people in place is really important.
And are you operating more like locally, or is it Glasgow focused and Glasgow minded?
So our the reason that we started was that we were looking at the identity of Scotland. So when we started up, it was 2013. It was a year before the independence referendum. Okay. So our master's project at university asked, if Scotland voted yes, what would the architecture of Scotland look like? And so we we looked at the maritime history of Scotland, and how we used to have all these relationships with Norway, with Iceland, with loads of the Nordic countries, and how those have been lost. But also, if you're looking towards the future, then from a climate change perspective, the Northern Passage is opening up, and that potentially opens up routes across the north. For ships and for trade to take place, which are much quicker than the current ones. And we see what's happening in the Middle East at the moment as well. So
this was back in 2013.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still extremely relevant.
And so you were able to create that kind of identity.
Yeah, and because there was a question of like, what is the future of Scotland? Like everyone in the country was asking it at the time. We got invited to like hundreds of talks and like said, can you come and present? Like
2 students, one that pitch to create an identity around Scotland.
Yeah. So when we were students, we got invited to the Scottish Parliament to present to MSPs or members of Scottish Parliament, and then effectively the result of what we created was a future atlas of Scotland. So when we published that, we got a publisher on board, and we sold 1,000 copies overnight.
Physical product.
Yeah, it was like this big A3 timber map of Scotland. So
It still is in store. It still sells.
we've got a few left, but that's yeah. So we
Limited edition.
yeah. There's still people that come up to us and say I bought your Atlas like 12 years ago. So yeah,
So you're local. You're a bit of a local hero.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but
You get recognized on the streets.
not yet. We're definitely well known within the design community of Scotland.
Cool.
So which is really good, and like because I think we straddle like architecture, city making, urban design, and then also like interpretation, like graphics. Like we do a lot of.
It's also what brought you to Utopian Hours, right? Because they also closely linked to design and
Yeah, and also so Turin, where Utopian Hours started. So Turin is twinned with Glasgow. So we presented during the pandemic digitally. We presented.
twins as in like a know-how exchange or.
It's like the two cities are twinned. So like Glasgow has a number of twin cities, of which Turin is one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but during lockdown, they were doing whatever that was, the fifth version of their of Utopian Hours, and they invited a kind of panel of people from Glasgow. So there was the city council, there was like the city urbanist, and then they invited us as well to be part of that panel. And so we talked about an initiative that we developed during lockdown or during the pandemic that was trying to say, well, in this moment, how do we enact change? And that was mostly because we kind of went, we were based in, or we live, breathe, and work Glasgow. And when we went around the city during lockdown or during the pandemic, everything was closed. There was all the sort of grey infrastructure of the roads, which, like, Glasgow is an extremely car-driven city. They were all completely empty. And so our kind of main argument was like, how do we rethink, reimagine, and redesign Glasgow to be greener, more vibrant, and more sustainable? So we talked about that, but it was a very grassroots level initiative. So we invited artists and creative people to come back to us with like their ideas, and then we used it as a platform to kind of present that to the city council. So we got like, in terms of partners on board, the city council were our partner. There was loads of other people that were like listening to us. And then as a result, because COP26, the climate change conference, was coming to Glasgow in 2022, we ended up effectively presenting all of this as like a grassroots level initiative that was looking at climate change effectively.
Nice. And those ideas were then also implemented?
In some cases, yeah, they've like because it was like working with artists and designers. It was like a lot of them were like big visions and big ideas. But there was like one of them, for example, who we in the sort of Undercroft, or the cathedral like space underneath the motorway, where all the sort of big pillars come down. We worked with a violinist and a street artist to, like, we kind of had this juxtaposition of the two of them. So the violinist played Vivaldi's Four Seasons, while the street artist painted the pillars.
Beautiful.
And so we got like a lot of interest from that.
Was that an idea issue?
Yeah. So, but subsequently, there's around about 40 or 50 of these pillars, and at the moment in Glasgow there's 20 of those are being painted and kind of turned into this.
So through this platform, you really saw the city change. Is it less car centric? Is it
no? No.
Is it less gray and more green and vibrant?
No, not yet. I mean, it's definitely moving in the right direction. There are good initiatives going on in the city in terms of like creating avenues that prioritize people and.
So this was more about citizen engagement kind of.
Yeah, there was a certain level of activism, I would say.
Yeah.
As part of it.
Like a wake up call.
Yeah, and like we try to, as much as possible, engage young people in the process as well. So when we did the work with COP26, Lego was one of our partners. So they chose not to go into the main COP26 venue, but instead come to our festival. And we ran daily workshops with primary school kids to effectively, the workshops were called Build the Change. So it was working with, like, we had 600 children come through the doors in the space of that sort of 2 weeks. And we were, as far as we were aware, anyways, the only place within Glasgow that offered a space for children to engage with the climate conference. So that was something that was really unique and exciting for us. Yeah.
Nice. And what are the topics you're currently working on?
So at the moment, yeah, as I said, we've got like loads of other stuff that isn't necessarily city planning, but I guess like from the perspective of like what we're here to talk about over these 2 days, we've got two kind of key projects that we're working on within Glasgow. The first being an initiative called Reconnect Glasgow.
Okay.
So a few months ago, the city, Transport Scotland, who own the motorway that literally goes through the city centre, they put out a consultation to say, should we repair, replace, or remove the motorway? The council, who obviously are a key stakeholder in that, have subsequently come out and said, well, all of our policies lead us to the decision that we need to remove it. But there is the consultation was not well advertised. It was, so we were very keen to try and have a voice and provide a platform, much like after the pandemic, and say, how do we how do we do something that isn't just looking at it from an infrastructural perspective, but looking at it from a creative placemaking perspective.
Who responds to that?
So we've had loads and loads of different organizations, there's a few artists and different like people sent us like renders of what they wanted it to look like. We had like some photography submissions as well. But our kind of point now that we're looking at is like how before the next local elections in May next year is how do we provide a platform for discussion about this topic so that it can influence policy moving forward for the council. Now, I think that the council has a good influence within Scotland, but as Greater Glasgow, effectively the population is around about 30% of Scotland's population. So we should really, what happens in Glasgow affects.
Right.
Everyone in Scotland. It's not like it's just affecting us.
Bit of a role model for other towns and cities.
Yeah, and even just people come from everywhere to Glasgow all the time. So it would be really good to ensure that there is good representation, which I guess goes back to our original project and proposal and why we started Lateral North, is like looking at different ways that people have done city planning or have enacted change within their places. So that's why we're really keen to be here, because the talks have been so inspiring. There's just so many ideas like going through my head at the moment anyways, but I'm really keen to go back to Glasgow and feed it into like and especially like speak to those that we've been speaking to about the Reconnect Glasgow projects as well. The other projects we're working on is
even the Reconnect Glasgow thing is something that, as a tool, other cities could use as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I think I guess the thing that's really has been really good about it is that it is very cross-sectional across society. So it's not like it's the council dictating something. Exactly. It is actually like, and they're kind of listening to what we're talking about,
because you get traction, of course.
Hopefully, it's still in the early embers, so we're just looking
with the earlier initiative about during COVID, you got traction there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So it starts with the community, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's been a key part of it, is like how do we represent the voice of local communities within Glasgow?
Beautiful. I think that's beautifully said in one sentence. It's almost a mission statement.
Yeah.
Apart from the other projects you're doing, but this is one of them, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. I think Sarah Castle was talking a lot about the work that she does with F2 as well yesterday. And I think that, she had a very similar statement. Is like, who do we actually design the buildings for? And sometimes buildings are designed in the hope that students will come along and live there, or people will use them in different ways. But if you're going to produce something that is going to be used and programmed and active all the time, then you have to start with the people who live and work in that place.
Yeah, absolutely. Here.
If you like me, I can talk just briefly about the other projects as well. That's
Sure.
quite relevant, because I think it's relevant to this as well. So like 5 years ago, we started working with a local development trust, which is in Scotland. They are effectively a group of people on a board who are local to that area, and they try and bring in funding to move forward projects. So the development trust in the East End of Glasgow, they had been gifted by the council, by the Glasgow City Council, a huge bit of land that used to hold 2 primary school sites on it. So in Scotland, we've always had this big challenge of split or diversity between Catholic. So it was a Catholic school and a non-denomination school that were on the same site. But because that site has been vacant now for 20 years, it has completely rewilded. So the trees are now like as tall as this room that we're in at the moment, and there's like loads and loads of wildlife on this site. They were gifted this piece of land because effectively those 2 schools were like right at the heart of the community, and now that community is like split by this piece of vacant land that there has been trouble with. Like there's been fly tipping and a whole host of other things. So we started working with them about how we turn this space into something that is a space for people to gather, for people to learn, for people to grow as well. And that's both in the physical sense of like planting, vegetables and stuff like that, but also like grow as people. So over the last 5 years, we've been working with them to not change any of the biodiversity, keep that as it is. But there's some portions of the site that have never kind of grown because they were where like the concrete was or the foundations of the building. So we've started to put different growing spaces within those, or play spaces, or educational spaces as well.
But it's not only for young people; it's only for everyone.
It's open for everyone. Yeah. So the community itself has never had they don't have like a community center, a pub, or like somewhere for them to come together. So this space has become that, and is going to continue to become that. It's been a long process, but we were here yesterday. We were talking about third places. Was one of the themes, and this is definitely like a sort of third place, but it's kind of become this place that people are starting to populate and use in different ways.
Nice.
So I've seen someone like do like yoga on it, for example, and like it's
Does it have programming already, or is it just the programming is done by the people themselves?
It's just by the people themselves. But yeah, I think that the thing on when we were talking at the round table yesterday is that we've had to build a huge amount of trust with that community, and it goes both ways. So so now we're at a point where the community will come to us and they'll say, do you know someone for this? And as long as we say yes, like and provide them with some information about someone that they can work with, they trust us. But it's been a long process for us to get to that level of trust with them. So it's a real honor to work with them, because it means that we can continue to have that relationship even when like the funding runs out. We can just continue to work alongside them, and then they come back to us and say,
who knows, the community funded, who knows.
Yeah. So it still happens. So even at the moment, we're currently chatting to them about the next stages of the project.
Yeah, so with Good Place, I also launched the Good Place map of connection, which is thisisagoodplace.com. First and foremost for the podcast episodes in different places, but also for initiatives like yours to showcase, hey, this is happening in Glasgow. So I would love to add it as a pin on the map.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For everyone seeing that or visiting or whatever, they're like, I need to check it out. Yeah.
Definitely, absolutely.
Cool. I'll be in touch about that.
Yeah.
Listen, Graham, at the end of every conversation, there's always the question. being on a good place bench. What is a good place to you, or what is it you would like to share with people, saying, okay, this is how you can create a good place?
That's a very good question. Um,
You have a lot of projects and concepts out there that
I think like a good place is something that you work alongside people to develop, and it needs to continue to evolve and adapt. It's not something that just remains that you kind of do and then leave. It needs to be something that you need to have that continual relationship.
Yeah.
So a lot of our projects we still speak to and work alongside the people that we were working with 5-10 years ago, to continue that relationship and still have that friendship.
no
S-
quick fixes.
No, and I think like it's also about, I guess, like embedding yourself. And I think that we kind of over the last like few years, and why like Reconnect Glasgow and the project, the link, the projects in the East End of Glasgow has been really important for us, is that we kind of had lost that a little bit, that we'd started to drift away from like working in Glasgow. And so we'd started like working in different parts of the world, or different parts of the UK. And that meant that, we were kind of coming along and going into a place, but not necessarily like staying and continuing that relationship.
Yeah.
So being able to work in Glasgow is perfect. It's really nice.
Yeah. I feel you. Sometimes you're like, okay, I could go somewhere else, international, and do projects there. But if you focus more on what's around you, no, good inspiration. Thank you so much for your time, Graham.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone watching, I'm going to, of course, add the details here below so you can check out the projects you just mentioned. It's nice for people to see and to experience themselves. If you're in and around Glasgow, be involved,
Definitely. Say hello.
Come say hello. Here you go. For sure. Have a nice day.
You too.
Enjoy. Everyone watching, see you soon. And curious to see who's going to be next to me in the next episode. All the best. Bye-bye.